Tiny homes in Utah, that's today's topic. Are they allowed in the state of Utah? What exactly is a tiny home? Is it this big or is it 20 foot long? Are there state regulations for your tiny home? Or is it left up to the county, the city, or maybe the landowner? And what is the future of tiny homes in Utah? We're going to talk about that on this video and much, much more. Let's get after it right now. And I'm Mike Gallagher. Welcome to the Living in Utah channel, where we talk everything about the state of Utah, eating, sleeping, drinking, playing, and today we're going to talk about tiny homes. If you'd like to find out more information, you may consider tapping that subscribe button down below and hitting that bell notification, and you will receive an alert of when those events occur. I absolutely love the state of Utah. I also love helping you buy or sell real estate in the state of Utah. So if I can be of any assistance, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. We got your back with Utah Real Estate. So as we get started, I have a word of caution. The whole subject about tiny homes is being discussed at a local level and state level every year. It's a very hot topic. So the information that I have today, October of 2021, it may change. I expect it to change. Matter of fact, around the country, there is a large discussion going on about tiny homes and affordable living. So there might be some changes on a federal level. A lot of states are dealing with the affordable living issue, and tiny homes may be one of the solutions. So what is a tiny home? There are many definitions of a tiny home that are floating around out there. In my opinion, there are basically two designs. One that has wheels and it can be moved. You can take a pickup truck, hook it to the tiny home, move to another city or another state. Then there's a tiny home that actually sits on a foundation. A lot of times I've seen these tiny homes with permanent utilities, but sometimes with some temporary utilities. It is very difficult to move this type of structure. Normally it has to be lifted onto a trailer and moved, or onto a semi-truck and then moved to another location. So in my opinion, the one that's on a foundation is more of a permanent fixture. So now that we know what a tiny home is, where do you buy a tiny home? Well, I did a little bit of research. I basically went to eBay and I found some tiny homes for sale. Tiny home number one. This particular unit is only $20,830. What a great deal. Cheaper than a new car. It is 30 by 20 in size, so it makes it 600 square foot, but it also comes with a 20 by 10 patio. Now this unit has no wheels, so it's not very easy to move. You probably would consider this more of a permanent structure. So tiny home number two, this particular model, is $28,995. This unit has wheels and it can be moved. It's 24 foot in length. What's nice about it is you can hook up your half-ton truck or your 3/4 ton truck and move it to another location, so you're very mobile. On the screen now is tiny home number three. This particular unit is just under $40,000 and you get 288 square foot, and it is also 24 foot long. But this is a log cabin design, so you can get some beautiful exterior choices on these tiny homes. But this particular unit has no wheels, so it's more of a permanent structure. Tiny home number four, you can purchase this one for $89,635. You've got 400 square foot of living space. It is 42 foot by 11 foot. Now this is kind of like a premium model. You get solid oak flooring, you get a metal roof, great for snow removal. You also get 100 amp electrical service. That's typically what they put into a lot of homes that are being built. And you also get a tankless water heater. So it brings up the question, why would you want a tiny home? There are many, many advantages to a tiny home. Just here in northern Utah, in Salt Lake City, the average rents for an apartment average about $1,200 to $1,300 a month, but it's not uncommon for the new apartment builds to be $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 a month. Those prices, pretty much all of northern Utah, $1,200 to $1,300 range on average is what I'm seeing. Tiny homes are also movable. You're not locked into one area. Let's say you move to Utah and you decide, well, I want to move to Colorado or Nevada. And if you have a tiny home that's on wheels, you hook it to your pickup truck and move it to a new location. Maybe you work for a company that has multiple locations throughout the United States and you are constantly getting promotions to different areas. Take your tiny home with you. Maybe you have a traveling job. What comes to my mind is a traveling nurse. You can go from state to state with your tiny home. It's especially, in my opinion, ideal for a college student. As a college student, you do not need a lot of space. Also, if you are a single individual, maybe you just need 200 or 300 square foot because you just have a few items, and a tiny home would work out just perfect. So now that you've purchased your tiny home, the question is, where do you park the tiny home? And in Utah, it's a little bit of a gray area, but I have found that some mobile home parks will accept tiny homes. It's usually on a case-by-case basis. So you'd have to call around the individual mobile home parks and see if at the current moment they are accepting tiny homes. Most cities and counties in Utah do not have a definition for tiny homes in their code book. So the city officials right now are trying to work through the issue. And I imagine it'll probably change in the next year or two as cities start to develop rules for tiny homes. I have seen that some owners are parking them with private landowners. I see ads on Facebook all the time for people parking their tiny homes on private landowners' property. And most of the time, you can stay there until the neighbors complain or the city code enforcement officer kicks you off of the property. And it's usually an argument. Is it allowed? Is it not allowed? It's really a debate. So if you're in Washington County, there are areas that will allow a tiny home, but it must be under 300 square foot. It has to be on a foundation and hooked to utilities. If you're in Salt Lake City, they do have regulations that allow ADUs. I'm going to explain that in a moment on the video. If you are in Eagle Mountain, they will allow tiny homes on wheels in R1 zones. Now with any of these, check with the local zoning department for the latest information. Most of the times you can just email the zoning department and they will respond with an answer. So this leads us to ADUs, accessory dwelling units. I refer to them as additional dwelling units. It's a little simpler to explain. Let's say you have a piece of land with a home on it and you want to put another dwelling unit on the property. That would be an ADU. There are cities right now in Utah that is working on allowing ADUs into their city codes. What I've noticed that they do come with some restrictions, the cities who are implementing the ADU regulations. Usually it has to be on a foundation and it has to be connected to water, sewer, and power. So tiny homes with wheels would be excluded. Currently, Pleasant Grove and Salt Lake City has zoning for ADUs written right into their city code. So as we're discussing Salt Lake City, they are discussing a tiny home village right now. The official name of the project is the Other Side Academy Tiny Home Village. Public comments just ended September 30th, so they are gathering all that data to continue on. They hope to break ground in spring of 2022. So the proposed location is on the west side of Salt Lake City. It's a 45-acre parcel just on Indiana Avenue. They should have a master plan released sometime by the end of the year. There are some people out there wondering, why is it on the west side of town and not the east side of town? Well, my guess would be, where would you find a 45-acre parcel on the east side of town? Little bit difficult at the current moment. Now, I have read that the community will resemble one that was built in Austin, Texas, called Community First Village. Now, this community has houses of all shapes and sizes, paved roads, manicured lawns, gardens, patio areas, just a great facility. So hopefully, Salt Lake City will build a great community. Now, nothing is final. They still need approval through the city council process, and they need to decide, will they lease or buy the land? Got a little bit of number crunching to do there. If it gets built, I hope it'll be a model for other cities in Utah to duplicate. So in conclusion, that's my video on tiny homes in Utah. Things are changing rapidly with this subject matter, whether it's in the state of Utah or nationally. As things change right here in the state of Utah, I will try to keep you informed. If you do have any kind of questions, by all means, reach out to me. Glad to assist you in any way that I can. Till the next video, take care and stay safe.